What's up, fish heads? Tony Baber here with another episode of Co-Angler Talk. In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the strategies that are involved with fishing as a co-angler. Now, I'm not going to give you the same thing that you can get from 1,000 other videos that are out there. I wanted to cover more of the preparation for a tournament as well as the mental side of fishing as a co-angler in a tournament. It's something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about out there. Now, we will be covering some of the tactics and some of the strategies that I've used that have helped me have some success as a tournament angler, but my main focus was going to be more the mental side and your preparation for the tournament. So let's get to it. Alright, welcome back, guys. I want to talk about the preparation for a tournament as a co-angler. Now, you've all heard 1,000 different ways of skinning a cat, so to speak, but some of the things that I've done that have helped me to have success or helped me feel more confident in what I'm doing on the water starts at the very basic level, from looking at the lake, whether it's a paper map or you're looking at something on the computer. There's a Navionics web app, which I highly recommend, whether you're a co-angler or a boater. It shows a lot of detail on the lakes. You can zoom in and out. You can look at all kinds of different things. It does show the high definition sonar charts on there. It's a great way to really kind of dig into something and really get a feel for the lay of a lake, kind of how it sets up, whether it's something like a Kentucky lake that has ledges and river channels and things like that, or if it's something like a shallow water lake that only has 3 or 4 foot of depth throughout like half the lake. Anything like that that can kind of help you out. And of course, satellite imagery, you can see if there's grass or lily pads, what kind of timber there is that's laying down in the lake. Just something that's going to give you an idea of how the lake sets up and kind of a broad view of what's going to happen on the lake, so to speak, as far as when you get out there. Now, I wouldn't spend an absorbent amount of time trying to memorize the lake and figure out all that stuff, only because you're fishing as a co-angler. So you don't have a lot of control over the area that you're going to be fishing. You have no idea where you're going to go, when you're going to go there, and things like that. I say look at the lakes just to have a good idea of kind of the general way that it fishes. Look in forums, ask questions in forums if you want. Do research on websites if you can find different websites that have different things. I know there's stuff like Fishity or Fishbrain, websites like that might have some information that's out there for you to be able to tap into, but just do as much research as you can. Tournament results, like through the FLW, if they've had previous tournaments there, look at how people won those tournaments. What were their strategies? What kind of baits were they throwing? What colors were they throwing? One of the things that I would do is, as I dug through all this information and tried to find like a seasonal pattern, if I knew I was going to a lake in March, I would try to find everything I could about that lake in the month of March, as far as tournaments, anybody like recreationally fishing, YouTube videos that people have posted maybe of them fishing in March, anything like that, to where I could get some kind of idea of maybe the bait they were throwing, the presentation that they were giving, whether it was green pumpkin or black and blue or orange crawl or whatever it was. But try to find similarities across all those platforms. So if you see a YouTube video where somebody's fishing a green pumpkin jig in shallow water flipping wood, and then you see someone make a forum post, hey, I caught them really good in the spring in March with a green pumpkin jig flipping wood. What are some of the things that are strong in the bodies of water that you're going to be fishing? Is there common kind of information out there that people use for springtime or summer or whatever time of year that you're going to be going there for that tournament? Look for that kind of information, make those connections, that way you can kind of prepare. Now, obviously the best thing you could do is be able to have time on the water, which kind of goes back to my previous videos, which I will share the links on. But think about making a connection with someone that's a boater and traveling with them and be able to get out there on the water and practice with them. On the water experience is obviously invaluable because you can figure out patterns, you can kind of figure out things that aren't working as well as things that do work. And a lot of people struggle, I think, on the mental side because they let things kind of get into their head. I've seen it happen time and time again with boaters even. where something goes bad or they break off a couple times or they lose a fish and it just completely derails their entire day. The best thing that you can do as a co-angler and really just as a fisherman in general is to stay strong mentally. Don't let things get you down. Try to stay positive. Realize that, hey, I lost this fish, but you know what? I got a bite on that bait. And get right back in there and start fishing again. Don't sit there and dwell on any bad happenings or things that have happened, or especially don't sit there and kind of get in your head and let things that are out of your control start messing with you. Like if the boater's fishing in a way that you're not comfortable with, you're moving too fast, or you're fishing really slow, whatever it is, don't let that kind of stuff get into your head. Focus on what you're doing. If you start noticing yourself getting negative or kind of wandering off and not focusing 100% on what you're doing, try to stop. Take a deep breath. Just look at what's going on around you. Had tremendous success with this. Is just pay attention to your surroundings while you're out there. Don't daydream. Don't kind of look off into the distance and just kind of go through the motions of fishing. And if you catch yourself, stop. Pay attention to what's going on. Listen for those splashes where fish are chasing bait fish somewhere, or where you see something, breaking up in the shallow water. Look for that bait swimming in front of you. What color is it? What size is it, importantly? Things like that. Just keep an eye on the conditions, the wind, the rain, if it's coming, if the clouds are moving in or out. Just pay attention to everything that's going on around you and use all that information to kind of digest what's happening and to try to develop a strategy for that moment in time. There's been a couple times where I've been out there and I've heard a fish busting on bait somewhere. I turn around, I throw to it. Next thing you know, I've caught a fish. I did it one time at Dale Hollow, and because of that strategy, I was able to actually get 10 to 12 pounds in the boat within a short period of time, because I was paying attention to my environment and what was going on around me. And I noticed that there was a school of bait fish that was getting attacked by a school of bass, and I capitalized on that opportunity because it was in the back of the boat. Now, another thing, as far as the mental side goes, try not to second guess yourself too much. Do stuff that you have confidence in. Don't try to venture out and try some new lure or new technique or new bait or something like that, something that you've never tied on and touched before. Don't try to do that in the middle of a tournament. Save that for your practice time. Save that for your at-home time when you're fishing with a buddy, whatever it is. Don't try to do that stuff while you're out there on the lake, unless it's something to where there's an absolute just strong pattern going on that your boater's doing and he's like, you need to have this tied on. If it's something that you're not confident with but it's being completely successful, then by all means do what you have to do to adapt, but ask questions. Make sure that you are doing everything you can to try to be successful with that bait that you're not as confident or comfortable with. But definitely try to stay with the stuff that you are extremely confident with. The other thing is don't bring too much tackle with you. I know you should bring plenty of things to be able to adapt and change and kind of go back and stay within your environment, but don't bring so much stuff that you're constantly second guessing yourself. The thing that I found was, at first I started off real simple, and then I started kind of expanding and bringing more and more stuff because I felt like, I don't want to get caught without this, I don't want to get caught without that. As I learned and became more confident and more baits, the more stuff that I wanted to bring with me. But as I got to the last year, maybe even the year before that, I realized that I was getting too much stuff and I wasn't even using half of it. I'd come back at the end of the day and go to clean up my tackle and realize that I hadn't even touched or looked or thought about half of the stuff that was in there. Yeah, I had it out there in case I needed it, but did I really need it? Because in the back of my mind, I might be second guessing what I'm doing or thinking about other things rather than focusing on what I am doing and the presentation that I'm giving at the current time, something that I probably had confidence in, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. Same thing kind of goes with the number of rods that you're bringing. Don't bring 8 rods out there with you, because chances are you're going to spend more time trying to untangle them and fish than you are actually fishing. I tried to keep it as simple as I could, 4 rods if I had a lot of confidence in what I was doing, and up to maybe 6, at most 7, but usually I try to stay 5 or 6 rods, because the less rods you have, the less second guessing you're going to do, but also the easier it becomes, because fishing as a co-angler, you're in tighter quarters, you don't have a big deck that you can just lay all the rods out on. It makes it easy to pick one up and throw. You're usually cramming them in a small little area on the side of your seat, and when it comes time to try to dig something out, if you got 7, 8, 9 rods sitting there, it makes it hard and you're losing time. Try to maximize your time while you're out there on the water. Control what you can, save time where you can, and be prepared the way that you can save the most time for yourself. You know, whether it's having calling tags on the top of your bag in an easily accessible position, or having your most likely baits or soft plastics hidden away in a bag or in a front pocket on your bag or in your pockets on your pants or anything like that. Do stuff like that to help maximize your time, because as a co-angler you got a lot of things that are working against you, and you need to take every opportunity to work to make sure that you're giving yourself the most efficiency while you're out there on the water. Something to think about. Now, the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on was some of the strategy in terms of tactics and things that I've done that have helped me or that I've been successful with. Now, there's a lot of people out there that'll say, you know, go finesse, throw everything on, you know, 6-pound line or whatever, and throw spinning gear all the time, shaky heads, Ned rigs, things like that. Yes, you can have success doing that, and you can have a fair amount of success doing that. But I will say that don't shy away from power fishing if the opportunity's there. Don't shy away from using your moving baits and things like that just because you're in the back of the boat, and a lot of people think that you need to fish slow, you need to fish finesse, you need to downsize everything. I've had just as much success, and some of the better successes that I've had out of the back of the boat have been in situations where I was power fishing. Go out there, be aggressive, you know, throw your moving baits, throw them spinner baits and chatter baits and things like that, and have confidence in it. If it's something that you really enjoy doing and it's something you've had a lot of success doing, then do it. Don't shy away from it just because you're fishing as a co-angler, and people tend to kind of, general stigmatism is fish finesse and slow and downsize everything. Go big sometimes. It'll work, I promise. That's kind of what I wanted to touch on as far as strategy goes. I'm not going to sit here and belabor a lot of different baits and things like that. Just try to keep your stuff simple, keep your presentations with things that you're confident in, and do everything that you can to try to maximize your opportunities, whether it's mentally, whether it's with your preparation, whether it's practicing with somebody, or even taking your own boat if you have one and practicing that way. Do everything that you can to best prepare yourself, and don't listen to necessarily everybody else in the sense of you have to do it this way, you have to do things a certain way to be successful as a co-angler. But that is probably the number one thing to take from any of this, and really fishing in general. Confidence is key. It's huge to success, and anything that you can do to kind of help give you that confidence, to give you that push or that bit of I can do this, make sure that you're doing it. Whether it's in your tackle, you know, whether it's how you're packing your tackle, how you're rigging your rods, what kind of baits you're bringing, how quick you can get to your baits, how quick you can get to your rods, how quick you get out of your seat, whether you're wearing your life jacket the whole time to save time from taking it on and off. Whatever it is that you can do or that you're comfortable with doing, make sure that you're doing it to maximize your opportunities to be successful out there on the water. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you didn't already, and stay tuned because I got more coming to you. We're just about done with the whole co-angler series here, and then we're going to start moving into some of my preparation for going to the front side of the boat. So definitely stay tuned for that, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you can stay tuned with that. Until next time, guys, good luck and good fishing.